Hello, fellow learners, and welcome to my presentation on the Data Catalog Vocabulary, or DCAT, and why I think it's a very interesting standard. First, we will define DCAT, show a visual example, and I will explain the history and what the textbook discusses. And it only discusses the first two versions. It doesn't show the newest version, because it was edited later or added later. And then we'll talk about DCAT today, the third version, and then we'll talk about some scholarly works. Okay, so the textbook definition of DCAT is according to Zing and Quinn, our textbook authors, it is a WC3 or World Wide Web recommendation that enables a publisher to describe datasets and data services in a catalog using a standard model and vocabulary that facilitates the consumption and aggregation of metadata from multiple catalogs. So in this visual image, the things circled in green are the national infrastructure, data, and those are the data sets. And on the other side is the European Commission data sets, and they go to the national portal. They go to two national portals, and one goes to the European one goes to the Open Data Portal, and this one goes to the National Data Portal. The two DCAT portals go to the cloud, and the cloud goes to all of it goes to the data portal or DCAT. So this is not from the textbook, but this is from the DCAT for beginners that I very clearly had to use. And it says that the DCAT vocabulary, was developed and hosted at the Digital Enterprise Research Institute and then in 2012, the World Wide Web took it over. And again, that's all from DCAT for beginners. So now we're going to talk about the first version. It was released in 2014, and the textbook discussed application profiles for both, version 1 and 2, and that is what we will talk about, or try to focus mostly on regarding history in the textbook. And this is important to know what schema.org is, and it is according to their website, it is a collaborative community activity with a mission to create, maintain, and promote schemas for struggled data on the internet, on web pages, in email messages, and beyond. And the link, of course, is, under schema.com if you want to check it out. And the text also mentions that the relationship of DCAT to schema.org is of interest for providers and catalog publishers who wish for their datasets and services to be exposed through indexes. So, if you want that to happen, if you want your dataset or create a dataset and you want it exposed, go to schema.org. Okay. And and the image, and that's how DCAT 1 worked. There's the catalog record. It went to the dataset, and the catalog went to the dataset, and then it went for distribution, and it became a file. So now we're going to talk about the second version, and first let's look at the image of DCAT 2, which explains how it works. There's the catalog, and this time they have there's a resource service, distribution, catalog record, and the catalog go to the dataset, and they added the data service, which goes to distribution, and an application profile, which I will discuss more about later, and the files. So the second version was released in 2020, and the DCAT model and specification represent some noticeable new directions for metadata vocabulary development, such as the following. They define the specification as an RDF vocabulary, structure the components as a lightweight ontology, they adopt a modular approach to increase flexibility and portability, and they ensure interoperability from the beginning by incorporating selected classes and properties from as many as 15 existing namespaces, and they map the terms to schema.org, there's that word again, that place, and they support extensibility for multiple application profiles for data catalogs in different domains, and it's on page 448 in your textbook, in our textbooks. Okay, now for DCAT version 3, it was released in 2024, and it's of course the most recent version. I was unable to find an image that, or a flow that could explain DCAT version 3, and there was not much information, to be honest, found about that one, but that is what it is today. Okay, so now we're going to talk about application profiles, because this is going to be important for our next section. We're going to use terms from existing vocabularies, and it specifies the structure of metadata terms used in a database, and that's our textbook, and that's where the image was found. Okay, so now we're going to talk about what the scholars say, and they mostly talk about application profiles, so that's what we're going to talk about next. So, and they were healthcare related, which I thought was interesting. One was about called prototyping and a health DACAP AP data catalog to support population health indicator identification and quality assessment. And this paper describes prototyping experiences in a population health that used case of draft health, which called Health Cat AP specification for health data catalogs under the European Health Data Spaces Regulation, or in this case, EHDR, and discovered the possibility that the EHDS has in improving healthcare data governance, and it highlights that DACAP AP was a strong basis for implementation while highlighting the need for further refinement, especially for secondary use cases. And this was all from Brennan, that was the author. And then the other one was about designing DACAP extensions for common European data spaces, and the EHDS Health DACAT AP case study. It was a case study, and it talked about Health DACAT app as an EHDS, or in this case, the European Health Data Space related extension of the DCAT AP profile. So thank you for watching, and that's all, and I apologize if none of you could understand me because this is just all overwhelming and too technical, and I'm kind of tired right now. And there's my references. Well, I hope you enjoyed it.